So, the truth about procrastination or distraction is that you're not always in control of your own body. I know we have this idea that we have total control over our own thoughts and feelings. Um, that's not really true. There is a subconscious, right? It's a second mind, and the second mind um, will literally force you against your will to do things that you don't want to do. So while consciously you want to get back to the project, the subconscious um, wants to do something else. It wants to look at videos or um, go call up your friend or whatever. And you can consciously watch as this happens. You can consciously watch as this happens, and no matter how hard you try to switch levers, you can't. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. And so you have to work with the grain, right? If you have a if you have an undomesticated temperament, right, especially if you're autistic, if you're autistic, you have an undomesticated temperament, and so this means you have less control over your own body, right? So a person that has autism, they're more likely to cede control to the subconscious. And this is actually the reason why, if you've ever had a pet lizard, you'll put you'll put a cricket in the pen with the lizard, and what you'll notice is that the lizard doesn't just like automatically jump on the cricket, right? The lizard just sort of the lizard just sort of sits there and gazes off into space. Now, do you think that the lizard doesn't detect the cricket? Obviously, it does. It's an animal that is highly sensitive, right? And so, of course, it's going to pick up the cricket. It can see it out of the corner of its eye, right? And when you see something, you automatically detect it. You automatically detect it, and so you have to ask yourself, why is it that um, this lizard? Why is this lizard not going after the cricket? And the reason is because the brain of that lizard forces it to rest and to only act in the most efficient manner possible. So only acting at the best possible circumstance, right? So it'll go after the lizard just when everything is all ready to go, right? When all of the pieces are in place, then it makes its leap onto the cricket, right? So you have to work with that reality. And when you're doing something that's like really frustrating, when you're doing something that's really boring, when you're doing something that's really hard, or just intimidating, the subconscious is just not gonna like that, and it's going to constantly find itself distracted. And so, um, you have to make it a lot more pleasant, and you have to make it a lot easier to do, because it's like if you've ever like taken cold showers, for example, just like for health reasons or abstaining from pornography or whatever. Well, the thing is with cold showers is that you'll eventually realize that your subconscious will just like not let you take more cold showers. It'll prevent you, no matter how hard you try, to go into the bathroom, because it's just unpleasant, and the subconscious deals with really base feelings. This is actually why, if you notice, you will get angry about something, like you'll get visibly angry despite your attempts to consciously suppress that anger. So, for example, I went on a hike Um, I went on a hike uh, last weekend, and I didn't realize just how long this hike was going to be, and I was trying to be polite, but every single time I thought we were finally at the end, it was like 6 hours into the hike. Um, it turns out like, oh no, we're actually going up another mountain. It's like, oh, we're going up another hill, and this kept going on and on and on, to where I no matter how hard I was trying, I had I just had an outburst, and I was like, when the fuck is this fucking thing gonna end, right? Um, so your subconscious, it deals with like the really base feelings, and it will actually flood your body with chemicals, um, pertaining to pain or anxiety or whatever, um, depending on what it's experiencing. So so if somebody like insults you, for example, even though you can logically deduce that the insult makes no sense, your body, your subconscious still experience that insult, and it will not think rationally. And so it will continue to flood your body with pain regardless, right? So in order to fix the problem of procrastination, distraction, you have to make things really, really easy and really, really pleasant, for the subconscious. And this means you have to break everything down. You have to break everything down into its littlest, tiniest steps, right? And so when you're going through a novel or a manuscript or whatever that you're working on, um, it's a good idea to take notes about the things that you have to do and just break it down into the smallest pieces possible. So right now I'm using Cherry Tree, which is like a hyper organized, really simple note taking app. I really recommend it. Um, I'm using that, and I'm just taking notes about all the little things that I have to fix and all the little things I need to add and expand on. And so I only engage with those things when I feel totally competent and ready. And if I don't feel competent and I don't ever reach a feeling of competence, I will have to break that task down into smaller pieces. So um, it might seem a little bit impractical, but it actually keeps you working on the project a lot more consistently, and it gives you greater endurance, right? It gives you much greater endurance, and that's really the name of the game with writing novels, because you really need to get those hours in, right? You need to get in as many hours as possible because it's such a complicated document. The great thing about this technique is that it turns a weakness into a strength. So your weakness, the subconscious, um, when you break things down into steps and you just sort of mull over all these little things, not again, not forcing yourself to do anything that you don't really want to do. Um, when you do that, the subconscious will actually figure things out for you. This is often called in writer circles the muse, right? It's sort of like this mysterious force that sort of grants writers, key insights or ideas. That's actually the subconscious. The subconscious is hard at work figuring things out for you, um, just so long as you pay attention to those things, and you kind of come back to them repeatedly, right? It will actually work on those things and fix those things for you. So that's actually why you don't want to force it too much, because it will actually um, eventually like figure out ways of like getting around those problems. So